Hey friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher, back for another video, and this is episode... We have a pocket door there, so that's that noise. He's sliding the pocket door in and out.
Okay, we're just about done with the math clues.
Thank you. Although I do like math.
The last two digits of the year you were born.
Okay, 51. Now everybody knows how old I am. But that's okay. I've already told them.
And how old is our second born?
32.
Add them together.
83, which was last time. Plus one, because
done.
Okay, 83.
Plus one.
Because I'm your number one.
Yeah, that's it.
Would that be 84?
Yes.
Okay. Whew. That was like birthing a baby. Not quite. It's bad when he gets laughing at himself. I'm still going to show you some Christmas because today is Monday the 19th of December. So by a week from today, it'll all be over. All the hoopla.
Apple Watch only goes...
I have this problem when I bend my wrist with my Apple Watch, then Siri comes to visit. And she really bugs me. I think she needs to go home. Yes.
Actually, what I meant to say was, how old is our son going to be next year?
Oh, okay. Got to make sure you corrected that. Okay, so a week from today, it's all going to be over. The presents are going to be opened. The tree is going to be getting really dry. And you'll be eating leftovers, hopefully. Or I will. So, I had a few things last time that I didn't show you because I couldn't find them. And there's still one that I found, and then I can't find it again. And that's this one, Sampler House number 6. I did it. I found it. It's by Plum Street. It was in my to be finished box. I thought I got it out. I guess I need to go see if I left it in there. Anyway, maybe by next time I'll show it to you because it's really cute. Anyway, this one was another one that at the time I couldn't find. Now Okay, I really have to work on finishing a thought because I watch my videos and it's like, okay, you didn't finish the thought. So I don't think that's my brain working faster than my mouth because that would be hard to imagine. But in my quilt videos, which by the way, thank you to everyone who watched my last quilt parade for fall and Christmas quilts. Thank you very much. I had some great comments. But in the cabinet that I stand in front of, there's a shelf. In that shelf, I've dedicated to some of the cross-stitch finishes I have. So a couple of the things that I couldn't find last time were actually on that shelf. I just had other things covering them up. Okay. So one of the things I had mentioned was this one by Lottie Da. It's called A Merry Christmas Sampler. I did this one last year. And I know it was a kit, and I believe it was from Country Sampler. A Merry Christmas. I love this piece by Lottie Da. Let me hold it like this so you can see it better. It has wool on the back, and I finished it stuffed with sawdust. It's just nice and squishy. So that's A Merry Christmas Sampler by Lottie Da. This was another one that I couldn't find, and it was actually right in that cabinet. This is Plum Street, Crinkle and Woolard. I believe that I changed the color of the sheep, the lamb. But I'm not sure what I changed it to. I don't have it written on here. Kringle and Woolard by Plum Street. And here it is. This is just stuck in a frame. This isn't really professionally framed, although it fits in here perfect. So I'm sure I will leave it in here. But I ought to fully finish framing it. But isn't he cute? I know the shapes on the sheep don't show up really well, so maybe that's what I had intended to change and then I didn't. I don't know. You know, sometimes on variegated floss, there'll be a light end and then there'll be a dark end. And hopefully I'll remember in 5 minutes, I'll remember to tell you. I had trouble with that on one of the pieces I'm working on. Not trouble, but I had to be mindful, because if it's going to go from, like for instance on that sheet, from a light gray to a dark gray, sometimes you have to really be careful about your positioning. Or you can actually cut it, you know, to where you're just stitching with either the light or the dark. I've done that too. So, and then I showed you this one last time, but I didn't tell you the name of it. This is the one that's like a half ornament. And yes, I just have some scrapbook paper on the back. Somebody asked me what was on the back of these. This came as a kit from Brenda Gervais, and it's called Jack Frost. And it came with everything. I believe I bought this at a retreat where she had kits. I don't know. I know she has closed her Country Stitches Online, which is Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Threads website. And I know she has closed it for the holidays. But this may be something that you'll be able to get when she reopens next year. So it's called Jack Frost. And it came with the hanger, the ribbon, everything. And the beads. See, there's... You know what? I don't think it came with the beads, because these are not the beads that are shown in here. So I don't think it came with the beads. I just put something in there that looks like snow. Kind of. And then another thing I had failed to show you. I did this last year. This is the Prairie Schooler 2016 Santa, and I'm ashamed to say I think I only have 2 Prairie Santas finished, and they're who knows where. They may have been ones that got destroyed when I lost a lot of things in our garage. But I did do it last year. This was a kit from Shepherd's Bush, and it's done on 7 count, and you use pearl cotton. And they give you the conversion. I think the pearl cotton I used was, some of it was by weeks. But I'm not sure whether it was, I want to say it was pearl cotton number 5, but I'm not sure. There's 3, 5, and 12 are the sizes. But I finished it last year. Now, the pattern doesn't have a red nose on the reindeer, but I decided to put a red nose so that he could be Rudolph. And then if I get finishing done this year, which is fastly approaching too late, I'm going to back him into a pillow with some red ticking. And what I will probably do, because pillow forms are usually, I have one or 2 pillow forms and I change them out. Sometimes they're in Christmas things, sometimes they're in, so then I can store okay, here I go again, not finishing my thought. I use 2 pieces on the back of the pillow that overlap, but they're not connected. So you can pull it apart, put your pillow form on, and then they go back. Does that make sense? Oh, shut up. Siri's trying to interpret. I think I'm just going to take my watch off because that's annoying. Okay. So anyway, because this is very open, the weave of this, I may back it with some like darker colored muslin, something to that effect, or have a layer of it between that and the backing, because I don't want the white of the pillow form to show through. Does that make sense? I think so. So anyway, he's cute. I did use kind of a whisper type thing on the beard, and I finished him last year, but have not fully finished him, sadly. Okay, so those are kind of some of the things I didn't show you last time that I wanted to make sure I showed you this time. So then let's talk about what I've been stitching, and then some things that came in the mail, and then some choices. I told my husband, I said, this isn't going to be a real long video. He just rolled his eyes. I really don't think it's going to be a very long video because I want to come back next week also and talk about the choices. That was what I started to say. The choices for what I want to do in my January monogamous sampler stitch. But what was I recently stitching? Well, I had shown you this pattern, and I had stitched it once, and I gave it away in an exchange. Merry Christmas Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. And I liked it so much that I wanted to stitch it for myself. So I did. I finished that in the last couple weeks. This was not hard. This is a very fast stitch. What are you cooking? He doesn't realize that I can hear. The kitchen's right on the other side of this wall. So if he runs the microwave, or I can hear you cooking in there. Cooking something. Anyway, it's a really fast stitch, and anytime you have a border, for example, this border goes up 3, down 3, up 3, down 3. You can just count the tops. Maybe you already figured that out. So it's not like you have to count every single stitch. So it makes it a lot faster whenever you have a border that varies like that. Anyway, this is on 40 count weeks. Cocoa, I had a piece that was not the Zweigart base. This is the old weeks. But for an ornament, I decided this was the perfect size, so I did it on this. And the red that I used is called River Rocks by Weeks. It's a really nice red, but you could use any red. Although I did try some reds that were a lot brighter, and it kind of didn't go with the cocoa. So I used River Rocks by Weeks, which is a little bit of a darker red. And that one turned out really cute. So what else have I been stitching? And being today is the 19th, so we still have, what, 31 minus 19, 12 more days of stitching in December. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and hopefully I will finish.
Here, hold this for me till I get done with lunch.
Oh, gosh, I'm not going to hold that. That's too heavy. Smarty.
Just want to alleviate your concerns.
Okay. Don't encourage him. Please do not encourage his antics. But he won't show his face on camera. All the antics, but he won't show his face on camera. Side note. Anyway, so we have 12 more days of December, and I want to finish the piece I'm working on, and maybe another one. Oh, I don't know. I'm done with quilting. I have some more quilts I can finish, but people don't need it till after the holidays. So I have 3, I think, to finish. But one of them is like king size. But I was working fast and furious to get quilts finished because so many of them were Christmas presents that people had given me. They didn't give me the present. They give me the quilts to quilt for people that they were giving the presents to. Does that make sense? Anyway, so, you kind of have to finish them early enough so the person that had you quilt it can have time to do the binding. So I worked fast and furious for the last, up until like last Thursday. And then I just was like a veg. Literally, I've just been vegging. I didn't feel real good right after I finished because I really overdid it. And I'm old now, So I kind of have to pace myself. But if I have a lot that I have to do and I have to stand and quilt, I don't have a computer machine that, I don't know why I'm on this tangent. This is what you call a rabbit trail. I don't have the kind of long arm machine that you plug in a program and it will quilt whatever you want, like reindeer or Christmas trees or whatever the program is. I have to manually free motion quilt. So that means I stand at my machine to do that. So it can be really tiring, and when it is, I'm just really spent. Oh, he's going to come sit in here again. Watch me. Don't make too much noise eating. Some people are really loud eaters, and that can be, they can hear you doing that. Here it goes. Really? Seriously? So what have I been working on? Well, I finished that little Merry Christmas piece. And then this was a whip. So I know everybody and their brother has already finished Winter Rose Manor, which is by Brenda Gervais. So most people are familiar with this. I originally got this at a retreat, okay? I believe, because I have a box, and we got the boxes when we were at a retreat. Yes, this is so true. Now, we did not get the kit to make it. We got the kit to make this, which are the same floss and all of that. So originally the pattern I have, which is before she made it available to the public, it called for dirty linen by Zweigart, dirty being the color. Well, I had some of that, and I started stitching it, and I started on the vine up here. I usually start in the upper corner there. And the vine is done with Weeks Oscar, and it really wasn't even showing up. So I put it away. I was like irritated, so I put it away. The following year, I saw Brenda Gervais again at the Farm Girl retreat in Amana, and I asked her about it. And she said the piece that she had originally stitched the model stitch on was a lot lighter than the piece, because I even took my piece. So then a couple other people said, stitch it on Winter Brew. And I think the newer patterns, I'm not sure because I don't have a newer pattern, but I think the newer patterns actually called for Winter Brew. I had done a little bit on this last year and decided I did like the Winter Brew, but because I like to stitch in the season, when it's 80 degrees in April here, I don't want to do Winter Rose Manor. Maybe I should. Maybe I should broaden my horizons and be able to stitch out of the season. Like people that stitch like Halloween at Christmas time, it's like, that just blows my mind. It's like, how do you do that? I can't do that. Or like St. Patrick's Day. Like there's a really cute Brenda Gervais book that has all like leprechauns and stuff. I mean, there is such a short window of time in March when I would want to stitch that. But these people that can stitch that all year long, I'm amazed. Their brain just works different than mine does. Anyway, I had started it. I had very little done. I had just like a little bit of the top vine just to make sure I was going to like it. So this year I picked it up. And I picked it up, well, it's been a little over 2 weeks, I think, since I did my last stitchy video, and I immediately did that Merry Christmas sampler piece by Lottie Da. Not sampler, just not Lottie Da. Here I am just lying to you. This one. This was the first thing I stitched. This is called Merry Christmas Pin Keep by Stacy Nash. So I finished that, and then I thought, well, do I want to do another small, or do I want to sink my teeth into something? So I decided to pick up Winter Rose Manor. The other thing is, not a lot of people are stitching this right now. Maybe they are, but they're not showing pictures on Instagram, which is a whole nother subject that I forgot to make a note about, but I want to make sure I talk about.
Tell me, I'll remind you.
No, I don't want to say what it is, but just remind me at the end that there's something else I want to talk about. So I picked this up, and I've been working consistently on it, and I'm very happy with it. Now, there's a lot of controversy about this pink house, because the thread that it calls for is weeks. Some people pronounce it conch, C-O-N-C-H, but it's a shell, so it's really conch. And it's a really light peachy pink. Here it is next to the winter brew linen. When I first started the house, I was like, because I know a lot of people have changed it. I went to the hashtag on Instagram. I saw what a lot of people had used. I did my own little test of different colors. And I decided to just keep going with the conch. Now, unless I hold it close, you can't really see, but it does show up. I showed some friends, and they were like, oh, yes, that shows up. So can you see it? Now, right there you can't, but up close, I think you can see it. Anyway, I'm happy with it. When you look at it in person, you can see that it's a very light pink house. The other thing you have to remember, and I found the same thing on that Gather Inn that had the white house, and some of Plum Streets have had really light colored houses. I guess Yuletide is not one of them, but there's other ones of Plum Street that have had like a white house and can't see it really well. First of all, you have the bird here, so that's up against it with also this tree. And then, so what I'm trying to say is that conch does not, it's not right up against the color of the linen, the winter brew, except in a few places. So when you have something that interrupts between the pink house and the color of the linen, it helps the color of the house stand out more, the contrast of it. Does that make sense? Just nod. Sure, that makes sense. So anyway, I'm very happy with it. I still have quite a bit to do, but I'm hoping to finish this by the end of December. So up here is the big basket. What did I do with the pattern? So I have the big basket left to do. I have the rest of the grass or snow, which is another thing. It calls for, I don't really think there's a lot of color issues, and I think the original Dirty was a little darker than Winter Brew. But it calls for roasted marshmallow for the snow. And some roasted marshmallow, see this one, is very, and you know you don't want yellow snow. I learned that in college. Don't eat yellow snow. If you don't know what that means, I'm not going to tell you. The other ones that I have quite a bit of white, but they also have some yellow toward the end. Because when you really think about a roasted marshmallow, The edges kind of turn golden when you're roasting them. What I'm going to do, and what I have been doing, is using the lighter parts of the floss for the snow. And then the basket, I don't mind if the basket has some kind of golden. So it may even look like the basket is a different color. But I'm okay with that because a basket can be more yellowy. Does that make sense? So I will finish the snow, and there's some for some reason I'm having trouble holding this. There's some more trees in the snow. Okay, Carol, this is ridiculous. See the tree that's in the snow on the other side of the house? Right there. So the rest of the snow has trees. I should just show you the pattern instead of trying to manipulate all that. See all the trees. So I'm going to work on the trees tonight, and then I have a little bit more stuff on the border, flowers and stuff to put in, and then the basket, and then I'm getting pretty much done. So I'm looking forward to a finish on that. And that's what I'm going to work on. And these are the flosses. I've already talked about a lot of them. So they're very pretty. And I'm excited to finish that. So then if I would finish that, say, this week, because I don't have anything else to do, like grocery shopping or ironing the linen tablecloth. Oh, that could be your job. You could iron the linen tablecloth. I think you did last year.
I do it every year.
Oh, that's not true, because a couple of years I've had it dry cleaned.
And how long have we been doing that?
4 or 5 years.
So you got 2 out of 5.
He doesn't always tell the truth. Anyway, so if perchance I finish that this week, I also have to wrap presents. I'm going to work on, the other thing I need to finish is this. I have the Santa done. This is another thing I've worked on a little bit in the last 2 weeks. Oops. So I have the Santa done. I just need to fill in some of the flowers and some of the back stitching on the little snowman thing. This one is called Merry Old Soul by Brenda Gervais. Sorry for the glare. So this one will get finished. It may not get fully finished. I don't know. We'll see. And that one's done on 46 count. I talked about this last time. 46 count gray by Weeks, formerly called Confederate Gray. And I'm using all the called for. I worked a teeny bit on my Hannah Tingy. I finished all the stuff in the flower band. So this might be something I'll get back to after the week after Christmas, when I'm dismissed from cooking, because we'll be eating leftovers, hopefully. Maybe not for a whole week, but there's always pizza. And these are the colors for the Merry Old Soul by Brenda Gervais. I'm using all the called for. And I'm using the NPI for Hannah Tingy, and I'm stitching it on 40 count Buttercream by Lakeside. This was another one that I had really planned to finish for my daughter for Christmas. But her birthday is in January, so this has been shifted, and this will be another one I'll want to work on right after Christmas, so that I can get this finished in frame for her birthday. So I have a lot left to do on this one. And this is being done on 36 count fresco by Picture This Plus. And somewhere in here are the threads for that one. They're very pretty. Have the teal and the pinks. And I don't think that's going to be a really hard stitch. I mean, I don't think it's going to take a whole lot of time, but I definitely would like to finish it for her birthday. So those are the few things that I'd like to work on in the next 12 days. Pretty aggressive, I guess. So then, I want to talk I also gathered up other stuff that I might want to work on in the next 12 days. One of them is also a Brenda Gervais. Lori Rippey, Homespun Prims by Lori, is working on this, and it's called Heap on the Wood by Brenda Gervais. Heap on the Wood. Now, it calls for a beige linen by Weeks, the color beige by Weeks. But that's kind of light. And Lori decided to change hers to a darker. So I pulled out some, I think this is, yes it is. No, this is Vintage Sand Dune. I thought it was Vintage Exemplar, but it's Vintage Sand Dune by Lakeside that I have a piece of. And I'm thinking I might do it on this because I think this might go well. Now, this is a little bit warmer color. The linen is a little bit cooler color because I don't want any more coffee, thank you. So, but the reds, and I know the lighter colors are going to show up on this nicely too. So, if I feel like it, I might start this. So that's one of the things. Heap on the Wood. It's not really Christmas. It's very January-ish. I mean, the girl's holding a wreath. There's a snowman. It does say heap on the wind. Heap on the wood. The wind is chill, but let it whistle as it will. We'll keep our Christmas merry still. So, I mean, it tends to be a Christmas piece, but to me, it's not overly Christmas. So that's something I might want to start. You know, it's not like I don't have enough whips, but hey, why? Why not? This is one that I've wanted to do, and I've had this kitted for a while. This is Welcome All Hearts Home by Plum Street. I love this. Now this one has some reindeer and has a lady. I thought there was a Santa on it, but I don't think there is. Let me take it out of the plastic. I have it kitted with something. This looks like it's maybe a Vintage Light Exemplar. What's it called for here? Yeah, Vintage Light Exemplar. So I have it. Oops, let me give it closer. Welcome All Hearts Home. I love that. The stitch count is 225 by 141, so it's not huge. And the colors... Well, thank you. Did I say I wanted more coffee? I thought I said I didn't want more coffee. Thank you, dear.
Coffee makes you perky. Okay. And everybody likes a perky wife.
Happy wife, happy life. So anyway, these are just fun. This is just a fun piece. Look at how pretty these... I'm having issues today. See, it's just pretty. Welcome All Hearts Home by Plum Street. That's another one I might decide to start just for fun. And then I can panic next year to get them done. My friend in one of my stitching groups is stitching this, and it is so cute. This might only be available on Brenda Gervais' website, so you may be out of luck this year, but it's called Paper Snowflakes. Again, not overly Christmas. Obviously, it's got a snowman, and a lot of people decorate with snowman in January. We don't have snow here, so I'm usually ready to move on. But I get it. If I lived in the Midwest, I would decorate in January and maybe February with snowmen. But that's called Paper Snowflakes. I don't have any linen, but I have it kitted with the threads. But like I said, my friend is stitching it, and it's adorable. It's a good one to use like a darker linen, although it calls for Abecedarian, which is pretty light, by R&R. Again, Paper Snowflakes by With Thy Needle and Thread. So that's another one. I have beautiful project bags, but any project bag that has this plastic, I've had the plastic. I don't know if it's the heat or what, but sometimes the pattern picture will transfer onto the plastic, which is not good. This is another one. Rachel from Needle and Flax showed her finished piece, and I've had this one kitted for a while, and I love this. So this was actually tied with Winter Rose Manor for what I wanted to pick up and really stitch a lot on. So I may start this. This is Gathering the Greens by Stacy Nash. If you want to see it stitched, go to Rachel Needle and Flax. I have it kitted with the Confederate gray or gray, and then it has the similar colors again with some of these others. Now, this may be, I got this because this is, I didn't write this. But it says Gathering the Green Sampler, 36 count Confederate gray linen and threads. And so I'm thinking I got it at Country Sampler as a kit. Here he comes again. Did you hear him? Click, click, click. Okay, I'm going to show you just a few things that I got in the mail. And this is one, I got this, a lot of places were out of it, but I think I ordered it from Farm Girl Dry Goods. This is another With Thy Needle and Thread. It's called The Maker and the Mender. And it's about the needle. This is on Barb's Blend by R&R, and I do have some of that. It looks more like a tannish brown type linen, but Barb's Blend is actually a very light gray. So this one I just got the pattern. I don't have it kitted or anything. See, when I do these, I end up with extra bags. I don't know how that happened. I got this one kitted. This is a new Scarlet House. And Farm Girl Dry Goods, if something's new, she will kit them, but she has a limited amount of the kits. And so once the kits are sold out, then you can get just the pattern from her. This is on 40 count Newcastle dark cobblestone linen. Anyway, that's very cute. That'll definitely be a small that I want to do next year. I also got this pattern. This is another new Scarlet House. This one is called C. Strudwick, a Christmas sampler. Strudwick. But this is something you could do. I mean, it kind of has a little bit of Christmas to it with the Holly, but this is a new pattern from Scarlet House. She also has another one out that kind of looks like plaid and says ho, 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 but I haven't been able to find that in stock. I'm sure it's in stock somewhere, but I haven't looked hard enough. The other one thing I got is the new Blackbird book by all the Blackbirds. Now, some of these patterns I received at the Quilter Station Retreat in 2021. So a couple of these I have kitted from the retreat. But I love this one. The name of this book is When the Leaves Fall. There's 10 projects. So this will be fun. And the other interesting thing is that it's on a quilt that was, I think it was either a collaboration between Alma and Jan Paddock, or it was a Jan Paddock quilt. And I've made this quilt, but I haven't quilted it, because I have these exact same fabrics, so I must have had a kit. So every quilt that you see in this, or every picture that has a quilt in this book, I have that same quilt made, appliqued. I just haven't quilted it. So that's kind of fun. See, this is part of the quilt too. And this is interesting because Alma was talking about this at the last Quilter Station Retreat this past September. This is toweling. And, well, she calls it banding, but I think it was toweling. But maybe it was banding. But she had one that was done on toweling. And it was so interesting because to me that's just so creative. You know, because it's not like it's an even weave. So anyway, I got that. And I haven't really had a lot of time to peruse it, but I will. The other thing I want to talk about is there's a new sal that's going to be happening starting in January. And Brenda of Brenda and Laura are Brenda's birthday is in January. In fact, it's the day before my daughter's. And so Martha Evans, and I'll have my husband put in a screenshot of this, or a little bit bigger. This is a sampler called Martha Evans. It's by Scarlet House, and she designed it to be a stitch along for, or start along, however you want to say that, for Brenda's birthday in January. So there's a lot of places offering it. There's lots of different choices for floss. I personally am going to stitch mine with NPI. And I have the chart and the threads on order. So I can start that in January. Now that's not going to be my monogamous stitch, but I will start it on Brenda's birthday. And it's going to be on Hemingway, which is a needle and flax linen, which I happen to have a piece of that I had ordered from Needle and Flax. It's a little bit, yeah, that's more the true color. It's a great tannish brown. So I think the patterns are just now being shipped, and with the holidays and everything, hopefully everybody can start it sometime in January. It's not like you have to start it right on Brenda's birthday, but it's a stitch along. So if you decide to do it, then make sure you post your pictures on Instagram, which is another subject, the one that I wanted you to remind me, but I already remembered. So for whatever reason, and I won't go into that, I have not been very active on Instagram. I like to peruse Instagram. I like to see what everybody's stitching. But I just haven't posted since, I think, October. Other than I did post a picture of Brenda's, the Martha Evans chart for Brenda's stitch along. And like I said, for a variety of reasons that I won't go into. But I have decided that I want to post once a week. I'm going to post a picture of a sampler that I have finished. Now, it can be framed or not framed, but I'm going to post a picture of a sampler that I've finished. To the best of my ability to remember, I will post the threads I used and the linen. And I'm doing that because I think once I die, my husband's not going to know what these samplers are. So when I'm in the grave and all my bones are rotten, he's going to say, why didn't you label all these things? He already says that all the time. And I know it sounds like it wouldn't be a chore, but, you know, I have all the labels. I've got Kathy Barrick labels, and I just need to do it. So in the meantime, one of the things I want to do is to post a picture every week. And I'm going to start a hashtag, but I don't know exactly what I'm going to, you know, a sampler a week. I don't want it to be a stitch along. Obviously, I want it to be a post along. So if you want to join me in posting a sampler a week, a finished sampler, I think it's fun to post progress, but this is strictly going to be for the purpose of documenting. And I got motivated to do this because Yvette Gonzalez posts every one of her finishes when she gets them back from framing. So her Instagram is full. It's like the history or the documentation of her. Now, hopefully Instagram will last, and, you know, it won't be a big deal to find those pictures, but they'll also be on my camera. So this is what I'm going to do, and I'm starting January 1st. And what I plan to do, because I want to do once a week for the year, if I have that many, I don't know, 52 weeks maybe. And it doesn't have to be a reproduction sampler. In my mind, it can be any sampler. But yeah, I'm going to take the pictures for a month. So in other words, if the month has 4 weeks, then I'll take 4 pictures on Sunday and just post them once a week. To me, that's a lot easier than trying to remember to post every week. Now, I know some people are prolific at posting, and it's not a big deal for them to remember to post, but it kind of is for me. So this is my plan, and I hope if you want to join me, I think it's fun. We can all see different things that we have finished, or maybe be motivated to stitch that somebody else has finished. The important thing I want to make sure is that the designer, the name of the piece, the linen, and then if I remember what threads I used. And I may just say silk, DMC, or overdyed cottons. It doesn't have to be, or I may just say called for. So when I post the first one on January 1st, then you can see what the hashtag will be. And if you want to join me, it would be fun. And then we can have a whole record of some of the things that we've stitched and finished. That's that plug. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is things that are definitely on my radar for my stitching for the month of January, monogamous. And I'll take a few days out to work on Brenda's birthday piece. But for my monogamous, I have pulled some charts out of the vault. And these are candidates. So when I do a video next week, toward the end of the week is my plan, I want to do a whip parade, and I also want to show which one of these made the cut. So I haven't decided yet. I may end up doing a lottery system because I love all of these, but for sure I'm going to pick one of them to stitch during the month of January. And obviously I've picked ones that don't have over 1 because that kind of slows me down and I want something I can finish. The first one, this is not any order, is Sarah Spencer by Hands Across the Sea. This is an older chart, came out in 2020. I did the PDF, so this is just a printout. But Sarah Spencer by Hands Across the Sea. Now, with only a few exceptions, most of these I have kitted. This one I have with 37 count, I think it's Russian tea cake by Access Commodities with the Aversois silks. That's number 1. Like I said, not in any order. Now this one, it also does not have any over 1. And this is Margaret Felicia Dyson, 1848 by Fox and Rabbit. I love this piece. This flower kind of reminds me of the flowers in Red Deer Sampler. Oh, I love that. So that one's kind of, and the name is not over 1. And this one I have kitted with, I think, Light Exemplar by Lakeside and Aversois. The next one is another Hands Across the Sea. This is Harriet Goddard. This is like Sarah Fletcher. It's a long, skinny one. It calls for, the model was stitched on 56 count Zweigart with the shade Vellum. I don't have that, nor would I stitch. So I'll pick something. I don't have it kitted with linen, but if this one is what makes the cut, then I will. 40 count, it's only like 4.5 by 13 approximately. And I have the silks for that. Sorry, there's crinkling. The next one is another Hands Across the Sea. This is Mary Wigglesworth. Hands Across the Sea, Mary Wigglesworth. I have the 103. I have 2 pieces in here of Thornfield. So one of them may have been for Harriet Goddard. Thornfield by Needle and Flax. Because that would go, either one of these, both Harriet and Mary's Wigglesworth would both look good on Thornfield by Needle and Flax. The next one is by Lottie Da. I think this was a special offering through Homespun Needlework and Samplers. This is Elizabeth Charnelay W. Elizabeth Charnelay W. by Lottie Da. I saw this one stitched at the last Farm Girl. She had it, the model there. And this one is the called for overdyed cottons that look kind of messy. I don't know what the heck is going on with those. And then I have a piece of Chocolate Milk by Fabrics by Stephanie. That one is very pretty. And the words are the name and the verse is not over 1. So because I don't have time to do over 1 on all that. This one is, this is probably not going to be the one, but I would like to start this. This is Maria Vincenza La Riccia The gal that does the dolly mixtures. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. Anyway, she's doing this one. Her and her friend do the floss tube called the dolly mixtures. They're from England, but they're really close to Scotland, Ireland. Anyway, I'm going to use Veriswa silks on that one. And I have a piece of foxtail millet, 45 count, to do this one on, because this is huge. So it could be a start, but it for sure is not going to be a finish during January. So I'm not sure that one would make the cut. You'll have to pick a favorite here. The next one is Jane Summers' work, 1831. There are 2 letters in here that are stitched over one. Just 2 letters. I think she kind of ran out of space. Oh, yeah. Jane Summers' work finished in her 10th year. So TH for 10th is over one. But this is by Shakespeare's Peddler, Kitten Stitcher. And I love that with that big red house. Jane Summers' work. A lot of these are, you can either do it in overdyed or DMC. And I've looked through the list. I don't have them pulled, but I think I have almost all, if not all, of the floss. And then I ordered this from Kitten Stitcher. It's 14 count Morning Coffee by XJU. And I ordered it specifically for this piece. And when I saw Teresa at the Farm Girl Gathering, she said, "Oh, you just ordered Morning Coffee. What project did you order that for?" And I was like, I don't remember. And then I got home and realized it was for her piece, Jane Summers' work. So Morning Coffee is a beautiful kind of that's a very good representation of the true color. Not done yet. The next one is Caroline Amelia Trowell. A lot of people have stitched this, and I love this piece by With Thy Needle and Thread. So that one I have kitted with the antique lace and the called for. Antique lace is by Seraphim Fabrics. I have a couple more to show you, and then we'll be done. So this was one I showed you a couple weeks ago. That's a Brenda Gervais and sandals. And I don't have any thread. I don't have any linen yet. I do have the thread. This is not a very big piece. This is like 159 by 203. And it again is a reproduction. It doesn't have over one. It does have the, what's that called? Come on, Carol. Okay, hold on here. I know what they're called, and my mind is blank. It's where you do a square stitch. Okay, I have to read this because this is really bothering me. I'll have to have my husband put in the name because my mind just went completely blank. Four-sided stitch? Yes, four-sided stitch. Whew. See, saved you from having to insert it. Anyway, all of her name down here, and not the verse, but her name and her age are all done in four-sided stitch. Whew. This is another one that I am considering. This is Margaret Croft. This is by Needlework Press. I think Needleworker Kim, Contented Needleworker _ Kim is her new name on Instagram and FlossTube, and I think she's working on this. And that one, this was part of the Schoolgirl Club from Country Sampler, and I have that kitted. With Corn Silk, Weeks Corn Silk, the color Corn Silk by Weeks. I love that one. This was almost the one I did this past year. Instead, I did Snooty Parrots this past year. This is a Brenda Keys, the sampler company, and this one is called Country House Sampler. The first year I did a monogamous stitch in January was the Red House Sampler, and then the next year I did Elizabeth Watt by Milady's Needle. Last year I did Snooty Parrots, and so this one is a candidate for this year, or this in January, which is technically next year. And I have that one kitted with American Chestnut and the called for threads, which are DMC, I believe. Hold on, I can't get it back in the package. Oh, I also have a piece of Old Town Blend in here, so I obviously wasn't sure which one I wanted to use. And then I have it with the DMCs. This is one that's kind of older and maybe out of print. Well, Good Housewife, it probably is out of print. This is called Elizabeth Easton. I've wanted to do this one. I've had this one, the DMC pulled for this for a long time. I love this Rhode Island style border. Love the girl and the guy. Very dapper. Elizabeth Easton, born June 8, 1780. This sampler is an adaptation of an antiques. I've shortened it and changed from crewel stitching to cross stitch. It's worked with one strand of floss over 2 threads, with the exception of the windows filled in with over 1, but that's not that big a deal. Again, I have the DMC. I don't have a linen picked out, but I was thinking since it kind of has a greenish cast, I might pick Alcott by Needle and Flax. Either that or Legacy by Picture This Plus. Something that has a little bit of a green cast, if I decide to do this one. So I have a lot of deciding. Let's see. A couple more. This is Hannah Jenkinson sampler by Stacy Nash. This was also a kit from Country Sampler. It's kitted with Ale by Picture This Plus. I could not go without including some Scarlet House, since her designs are pretty much my favorite. This is Janet Barr Slater. I have this one kitted with, it's kind of a combination of silks on Paper Bark by Fox and Rabbit. The linen is by Fox and Rabbit. Another Scarlet House. This is Mary Miller. I actually did start this one. I mean, literally, there's like 5 stitches in it. Mary Miller. This one is Jane Charlotte Wynne, 1835. This is another club kit from Country Sampler. Jane Charlotte Wynne. And then there's two more. This one is Elizabeth Hunt by With Thy Needle and Thread. Brenda, I think, just got this one framed. That's the one I had to over-dye some of the DMCs. And the last one is At Home, which was a spring green Stitch Camp piece from Brenda Gervais this past June. So this will come out next year. And that's my choices. So anybody that wants to weigh in can certainly do so, because there's a lot of great samplers here, and I'd love to stitch them all. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So this is going to be my last video before Christmas. Like I said, I'm going to try to come back next week, but I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. And I heard something from our pastor yesterday that really was very meaningful. And that is, a lot of people who are believers will say Jesus is the reason for the season. But actually, he said, you are the reason for the season. Because Jesus came on Christmas. That's when we celebrate it. Obviously, he wasn't probably born on Christmas Day. On a rescue mission for all of us. So I hope you'll remember that this Christmas. And I hope you have the merriest of Christmases. And that you get every present you ask for. And lots of time with family. And that you're so full you can't even walk after your Christmas dinner. So have a good one. Love you. Bye.